The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV present Halloween Spooktacular 2023. Now let's head into the haunted house and find our host ghost to guide us through this year's Halloween Spooktacular.
Well, hello there. We thought you'd never get here. My friend Slim and I are just getting ready to celebrate our third annual Halloween Spooktacular. Tonight we have some of the finest Halloween-themed old-time radio programs for your enjoyment. We'll feature yours truly Johnny Dollar and the Joan Sebastian Matter, Richard Diamond Detective in the House of Mystery, along with Suspense and Menace in Wax. But first, Slim wants to do some dancing, but the problem is he doesn't have anybody to dance with. Okay, I'm sorry, so much for the ghost jokes. Go ahead, Slim, get the tunes going while we settle in with an episode of The Life of Riley. The Life of Riley is about Chester A. Riley, an aircraft plant blue-collar worker, his family, and their neighbors. William Bendix took the title role in 1944, after doing mostly heavies in the films. The show quickly grew in popularity in post-World War II America, as thousands of GIs were coming home to find work, buy a house, and raise a family just like Riley. Riley is stubborn and opinionated, and knows his way is the right way. His family and neighbors think otherwise. In this episode titled, Halloween Haunted House, Junior's Club chooses him to visit the neighborhood haunted house at midnight, and he picks Riley to go with him and hold a seance. And now, The Life of Riley from October 29th, 1944.
Wake Island, he was a Brooklyn Marine. In The Broad with Two Yanks, he's Biff the Private. But tonight, he's just an overgrown kid anxiously waiting for Halloween.
I'll never forget. When I was just a boy, every Halloween my father used to stick me in the front window. We were too poor to buy a pumpkin.
The American Meat Institute presents William Bendix in The Life of Riley. By day, Riley is engaged in the serious business of war production as a riveter in a California aircraft plant. But tonight we see his less serious side. It's 2 nights before Halloween, and Riley is full of the spirit of the thing. It's quite dark out, and Riley's son Junior is just returning from a meeting of the Young Wildcats, his club, in a very thoughtful mood.
Is that you, Pop?
Yeah, Junior?
Oh, what are you doing hiding on the back porch?
Listen. Peek in the kitchen window and see what your mother's doing.
Oh, she's washing the supper dishes. Say, Pop, what are you doing with that false face on? You're Mickey Mouse, huh?
No, I'm not Mickey Mouse. I'm the Rat Man of Blood Bucket Castle.
Oh, well, at the dime store they sell those false faces for Mickey Mouse.
Never mind. I bet your mother will think I'm the Rat Man.
Oh, you gonna play a trick on Mom?
Yeah. You see, last night we saw a horror picture about a nice gruesome character, the Rat Man. He was a vampire. Has lunch on people's necks.
Oh, he ain't a rat. He's a bat.
Oh, well, he's very depressing. Anyway, afterwards, your mom was so scared something would pop out of a doorway at her, she walked all the way home in the middle of the street.
Mom said you made her walk out there.
No, I just invited her out in the street because it ain't polite to leave a lady walking on the sidewalk all alone. You watch now when I scratch at the door and she opens it up and sees me in this thing.
Okay, Pop, go ahead.
Okay, all I hope is she don't faint. Watch now.
Pop.
What?
Bats don't growl, they squeak.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Who's there?
We got her guessing.
Well, I never. It's Mickey Mouse. Junior, go get your father some cheese.
Ha ha! You sure fooled her, Pop.
Yeah. Well, they don't make these masks as good as they used to. Or else maybe I got a very strong personality and it leaks through properly.
Well, isn't it a little early for Halloween tricks, Riley?
Well, it don't hurt to get a head start. Halloween's my favorite holiday. Look, Junior, there's something else I bought at the 5 and Dime. You see this book? Ghost Stories.
Oh, well, thanks, Pop, but I don't want to read any ghost stories tonight.
What's the matter? You don't believe in ghosts, do you?
No, I don't believe in ghosts, but I don't want to read anything that might change my mind. Too many people think there's ghosts now.
Say, Dumpling, what's the matter with him?
Well, I don't know. Ever since he came home from school today, he's been asking me if I believe in haunted houses.
What a question. With the housing shortage, as sure as it is, who's going to leave a house empty for spooks?
Well, there's one empty house up on Chestnut Hill, Riley. You know, the old Sherwin place. Some people say that's haunted.
Yeah?
Mrs. Cornwell claims she saw a pale white face at the window, too.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Oh, but Mrs. Cornwell's a great one for ghosts. She's always holding seances and things like that.
Yeah, that Cornwell kid's in Junior's club, too. I bet he's got our boy believing in ghosts. Well, I'm going to have a head-to-head talk with Junior. So you see, Junior, if I tell you there's no ghosts, you can take my word for it. After all, I've been your father for 13 years, ain't I?
Oh, sure, Pop. But if there aren't any ghosts, what haunts haunted houses?
Listen, Junior, nothing haunts haunted houses.
Oh, yes, they do, Pop. Johnny Cornwell's mother proved the house was haunted.
How did she?
She said she saw a ghost face in the window up at the old Sherwin house. It was a horrible face, too.
Doggone, Mrs. Cornwell must have seen her own reflection. There's a dame should walk into a room backwards and break her face to you slowly.
Oh, then she came home and held a seance. She asked if what she saw was the ghost of Alice Sherwin, and she got 3 raps on the table. Oh, that means yes in ghost language.
Fine language. All they can do is knock. They ought to be newspaper columnists.
You better not make fun of ghosts, Pop.
Look, Junior, would you sooner believe a ghost than your old man?
Well, no, Pop. But if the ghost said it was a ghost, it ought to know.
Okay, I can see you're a septic. Now, we'll have a seance right here to prove what Mrs. Cornwell saw wasn't that Sherwin girl's ghost. Come on, put your hands up on this table. Come on.
Oh, gosh, Papa, are you going to ask a ghost to rap?
I'll show you. I'll put my hands on there, too, see? Okay, now I'll ask something. Are there any ghosts? See? No answer. No ghosts.
Nah, Pop. You have to ask for raps. 2 means no. 3 raps means yes.
Oh, well, okay. 2 raps for no, 3 for yes. Now, I'll ask him again. Did Mrs. Cornwell see a ghost up at Sherwin's old haunted house?
Gosh, Pop, it said no.
You see, that proves it. Mrs. Cornwell's a phony.
Well, ask him again if there are any ghosts.
Okay. Are there any ghosts? Rap 2 for no. See that? The ghosts themselves say there aren't any ghosts. That proves it.
Wait a minute, Pop. How could a ghost rap 2 for no if there aren't any ghosts?
Well, that's very simple. I was just kidding, Sonny. I did that rapping myself. Honest.
Well, your hands were on the table.
Yeah, but my feet weren't. Look at. I just kicked up under that table with my foot like this.
Oh, Pop. I bet you wouldn't kid around like that in a genuine haunted house like the Sherwin place.
Well, sure I would, only I can't because I ain't going there.
Would you be scared to go if you were going?
Me? No.
Oh, that's good, Pop. No, I ain't scared to go neither.
How do you mean?
Well, down at my club tonight, we got to talking what we'd do Halloween. So we made it up we'd go find out if Sherwin's old house was haunted or if it wasn't.
Yeah. I pity any ghosts when them young wildcats get in that house.
Oh, we ain't all going inside, Pop. Just one of us got elected to go inside. The poor guy who got the short straw.
Who got it?
Well, I did.
I see. Well, Junior, you show him you know there aren't any ghosts in there. I'm proud of you, Junior, walking in there all alone. I think that's...
Well, I won't be all alone. I made up a rule the fellow who had to go in could take in another fella, his best friend.
Well, that's okay, too. If the guy you picked is a real friend, he'll go like a shot. Who'd you pick?
I picked you, Pop.
Oh, I bet that... Look, Junior, I'm probably going to be very busy and...
Pop,
besides,
you ain't scared to go, are you?
Well, no, but...
And you're my best friend, aren't you?
Huh? Well, yeah, I guess I am. Actually, the saying is that your mother is your best friend.
Well, I couldn't ask Mom to go, and I'm sure glad you're coming with me.
Yeah, me too, Junior. Chapter 13. As Lord Twitcher stood there in the dark hall of the great lonely house, he could feel something evil in the very air. A cold wind brushed his cheek, and an icy hand seemed to touch his spine. Suddenly, he saw the thing, and then he heard a sound, a low, wailing sound. Who's that?
It's only me, dear. Did I startle you?
No. No, I was just reading this book here.
Oh, the ghost stories you bought Junior, huh?
Yeah. Such nonsense.
Oh, my, it's a quiet Halloween, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wonder what all those boys in Junior's club are doing tonight.
Well, I know what they're doing. They're all sitting over across from our house right now on the fence, like a row of buzzards, waiting for us to come out.
Oh, are they going to the house with you?
Now they're going as far as the gate of the place to make sure we go in.
Oh, but you're not nervous about going, are you, dear? You don't believe in ghosts?
Well, no. You don't believe in them either, do you, Peg?
No. But there is something queer about that house.
Huh?
I wonder what did become of that poor Alice Sherwin.
Well, if nobody knows, I don't want to find out. What did they say happened to her?
Oh, it's an awfully sad story. She was a bride, you know, beautiful girl. Well, they were on their honeymoon in Manila. He was a captain in the Navy. She and her husband were going to come home and live in that old house. Then, well, he was lost in an air raid. Some say they were both killed together. Others say that she followed him because she didn't want to live without him. Well, anyhow, the house stands there empty, waiting for the bride and bridegroom that never came to live in it.
People ought to leave the place alone. And I'm one of the people.
Well, after you go there tonight, maybe people will stop talking and gossiping about the house, because you'll prove there's nothing there.
Yeah, maybe. Now, what was all that talk about seeing lights and faces around the place?
Oh, just talk, I suppose.
Yeah.
But they do say that they saw a woman's figure at the window in the attic.
Pop! Junior, what's the idea of sneaking in like that?
It's time to go, Pop.
Huh? Oh, well, yeah, it's, well, okay, Junior. Goodbye, Dumpling.
Goodbye, boys.
It's sure dark out, isn't it, Pop?
Yeah.
Pop, that Sherwin house we're going to, it can't be really haunted, can it?
No.
But it's funny that people have seen a ghost in there.
Yeah, well, look, Junior, when we get in that house, you do just like I do, and you won't see no ghosts.
Oh, what are you going to do, Pop?
I'm going to keep my eyes shut.
It's just midnight, a very dark midnight. Even the moon is hiding on this Halloween. Riley and his son, Junior, are just approaching the rusty iron gate that guards the old Sherwin house, which is said to be haunted. Listen.
Here's the gate, Pop. Let's go in.
Maybe the gate's locked, so we can't get in. Gee, wouldn't that be too bad?
We've got to get in, Pop. The gang's followed us all the way from town, and they're still watching.
Yeah, they trail us like sharks after a sinking ship.
Let's go in, Pop.
Okay. What's that?
The gate. The hinges are all rusty.
Maybe we ought to go back to town and get some oil, huh?
Come on in the garden, Pop. Gosh, it's dark.
Yeah. Well, follow me, Junior.
Where are you?
Right behind you. Here. Give me your hand.
I see the house, Pop. The moon's coming out of a cloud.
Yeah. Junior.
Huh?
What's that over there?
Huh? I think that's your shadow, Pop.
If that's my shadow, why is it moving while I'm standing still?
Pop, it's coming this way.
And since when does a shadow make footsteps?
Good evening, Riley.
Oh, wait, Pop. It's your friend, Mr. Odell, the undertaker.
I don't. Yeah. Oh, how are you, Digger? I never thought I'd be glad to see an undertaker.
You're looking fine, Riley. Very natural. Tell me, what are you doing here around the old Sherwin house?
Oh, nothing, Digger. We're just having some fun on Halloween.
Ah, Halloween. I adore Halloween. It's so gay.
Digger, do you hang around this old house much?
Oh, yes, indeed. It's one of my favorite haunts.
Haunts? Listen, you don't think there's anything in there, do you?
Who knows? Sometimes as I stroll through this old garden, I feel unseen eyes follow me.
You do, huh?
Riley, you're not going inside the house?
Well, we thought we might drop in a minute. I could be talked out of it.
Take my advice, Riley. Remain outside. Enjoy the beautiful flowers. They're my favorite flowers. Lilies.
Digger, when you talk about lilies, please don't stare at my chest.
Strange how some people have no interest in horticulture. In my profession, we have a saying, you may not like flowers at first, but eventually they grow on you. By the way, Riley, how tall are you?
Well, I'm about 5 feet. Why?
I'd like to borrow your overcoat Saturday to wear at the football game.
Oh, sure.
I'll pick it up at 1 o'clock. I want to get to the game before they kick off. Farewell, Riley. Oh, bury me north of the Lord.
Here's the door to the house, Pop. It's open.
Well, leave it open. Why? Well, one thing, Junior, nobody will never be able to say your old man was a coward. Let's go in. Now let's go out.
Oh, wait, Pop. We've only been in one room. We're supposed to go through the whole house.
As far as I'm concerned, this is a one-room house. Come on.
Oh, wait, Pop.
What for?
I told the kids you didn't believe in ghosts, and I said we'd have another seance like we did at home.
Junior, a blood relationship can only be stretched so far.
Oh, Pop, you said you'd do it in a haunted house, and if we didn't hear anything, it would prove there wasn't any you-know around here.
I already proved there wasn't any you-know around here.
Well, you didn't do it right.
Well,
I found out for a seance, the medium has to be tied in a chair, so it can't pull no tricks.
Well, okay, Junior. I'd be glad to let you tie me up. Only there ain't no rope. too bad.
I brought some rope, Pop.
That was swell of you, Junior. I'll remember this. Go ahead, tie me.
Oh, there. Can you move your hands or feet?
No, you tied me so tight Dan Green is sitting in. Now, stand over by the window where I can see you.
Oh, here I am, Pop.
You'll see, Junior. There won't be any raps this time.
Hope you're right, Pop.
Of course I'm right. How can there be any raps when I'm tied up too tight to rap? And I also got my eye on you.
Oh, go ahead, then. Ask if there's any ghosts here.
Okay, now. If there's any ghosts here, rap 2 times. If there ain't, don't bother. No raps.
Oh, now say, if there are any ghosts, to rap 3 times.
Okay, but there won't be any. If there are any ghosts, rap 3 times. Junior, did you do that?
I didn't. Didn't you?
Frankly, no. Junior, where you going?
Out the window. Come on.
Don't come back. Untie me, Junior. I can't get this chair through that window. Junior!
Oh, Pop. Pop, I can't get the nuts loose. I better go get a knife. Well,
Junior, don't forget to come back. I had to open my big mouth for raps, and I got raps. Fine thing, all alone in a house with it. What's that? Who's that?
What are you doing in my house?
I must be going crazy.
Why did you come here?
I wouldn't stay, lady, only I got tied up.
I will loosen the knot.
Yep. Well, thanks. Who are you?
I am Alice Sherwin.
Now I know I'm crazy. I'm talking to a ghost.
Oh, Pop, I'm coming.
Oh, Judy!
Please, don't tell anyone I'm here. I only want to be left alone here in my house.
I got a knife and... Pop, you're untied.
Yeah. And it was the ghost that done it. Wait a minute. Her hands. They weren't no ghost's hands. Junior, you go outside and wait for me.
Oh, what are you going to do, Pop?
I'm going to have another talk with that lady ghost.
Why did you want to see me, Mr. Riley?
Well, when I figured out you wasn't a ghost, I got to thinking how lonesome you must be in this house all alone. So I thought maybe you'd like to take a stroll over to my house and meet my family.
Oh, thank you, but
if you'd rather not talk, I'll go away.
No, don't go yet. I mustn't be rude to my first guest in so long.
Oh, thanks. Must be kind of a shock when the first man you see in so long looks like I do.
Tell me about your family, Mr. Riley.
Well, my family's named Riley after me. Very nice people, too. That was my son, Junior, that was with me tonight.
It must be wonderful to have a son.
Oh, it's great. I got a daughter, too. A girl. She's 16 now. The boy's 13, but getting older all the time. Then there's Peg, that's my wife. She's older than the kids, but younger than me. Say, in that picture of you over the fireplace, I guess that fellow with you, that's your husband, huh?
Yes. That's Robert.
He's a good-looking fella. Maybe you'd rather not talk about him, though.
Violence won't bring him back.
My wife told me about what happened. Of course, she didn't know the part about your being here.
I don't want anyone to know. I want to stay here, alone, with his memory. It's the least I can do in loyalty to him.
Oh. You mean you think that's what he'd want you to do?
Of course. Does that surprise you?
Well, yes, ma'am, it does. I didn't know him, but from his picture there, I know he was a swell guy. I wouldn't think he'd want you locked up here, throwing the rest of your life away.
Do you think any man wants the wife he loves to forget him in a year or ever?
Well, no, but there's different ways of remembering.
I don't understand.
Well, you can make his dying count for something by helping to beat the people who started this war and teaching the world that it won't pay to ever start another.
You think that I could help end this war?
Sure. Everybody can do something. The only thing a person can't do is do nothing.
Oh, I guess you think I've been very selfish, Mr. Riley.
Oh, no. No, you've been shut up in this empty house. You just didn't know what was going on. The people I can't understand are the ones who do know and still don't care. Those people live in something worse than an empty house. They live in an empty brain.
Well, I'm not one of them, Mr. Riley. You've given me something to think about. And I'm very grateful.
Oh, well, gee, that's fine. Well, I guess I'll be going. I'm sure glad you ain't no ghost. Of course, I ain't actually scared of ghosts because I know there ain't no ghosts. Are there?
Of course not.
But, you know, Mrs. Sherwin, it is kind of dark out in that garden, isn't it? Would you mind walking me to the gate?
We'll be back in a moment. Well, I think we can all agree with Riley that none of us here at home can sit this war out. The war isn't over in Europe, the war isn't over in the South Pacific, and the war isn't over in America's kitchens. You women who have signed up for the duration to keep health-giving meals on America's tables just can't pick out the meat you want and be sure of getting it every time these days. The needs of war are bound to make the varieties and quantities your meat man has vary from day to day. So let's all make good meals out of whatever meats are on hand. And remember this, all meats, regardless of cut or kind, have the same complete, highest quality, good-eating proteins that make meat a yardstick of protein foods. This statement and all statements regarding the nutritional value of meat made on this program are accepted by the Council on Foods and Nutrition of the American Medical Association.
Hiya, Dumpling. Hey, I got some big news about Halloween.
Yes?
Well, you know, I think I'm going to open up a one-man recruiting outfit. I'm going to recruit waves, wax, spars, and spooks.
That is the life of Riley from October 29th, 1944. I guess even a lady ghost is no match for the wisdom of Chester Riley. Up next, we'll visit with Johnny Dollar, and we'll do that right after this message from the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV is excited to once again be your host for Colfax High School girls basketball throughout the 2023 through 2024 season. Our first game will be on Tuesday, November 14th, when the Vikings play host to the Regis Ramblers. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN-TV begins with Viking pregame at 6:40 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking girls basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV on Tuesday, November 14th.
While Slim keeps his bones rattled, we'll take some time to visit yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar is a radio drama that aired on CBS Radio from February 18th, 1949 to September 30th, 1962. The show is best remembered by starting with a phone call from an insurance adjuster calling on Johnny to investigate an unusual claim, a suspicious death, an attempted fraud, a missing person, or other mysterious circumstances. Each story required Johnny to travel to some distant locale, usually within the United States but sometimes abroad, where he was almost always threatened with personal danger in the course of his investigations. He would compare notes with the police officials who had first investigated each strange occurrence, and followed every clue until he figured out what actually happened. This episode is entitled The Joan Sebastian Matter and is from October 28, 1950. Now, yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Edmund O'Brien as...
Johnny Dollar.
We're ready on your call to Boston. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes?
Mr. Semplin? This is Johnny Dollar.
Johnny Dollar? I don't believe I remember you, Mr. Dollar.
Well, we've never met. Your company hired me here in Hartford to investigate the Joan Sebastian death.
Oh? It's odd that they didn't advise me.
Well, they probably will. I called you to find out the name of the officer in charge of the case, if I could.
It's Lieutenant DeRosa.
DeRosa. Do you happen to know what their theory is, if any?
Theory? I don't think they've arrived at a definite theory.
Still a toss-up between murder and suicide, huh? Okay, Mr. Semplin. I'll be in touch.
Edmund O'Brien in a transcribed adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, Corinthian Life Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Joan Sebastian matter. Expense account item 1, 175 phone call to Boston, advising your manager there of my assignment. Item 2, $28 car rental and mileage from my Hartford apartment to police headquarters, Boston.
What's the matter, Dollar? Don't you trust us?
Well, it's not up to me to mistrust you, Lieutenant. These insurance people get uneasy when there's a choice between suicide and murder, unless the murder motive is the policy.
And you don't think there's a chance of that?
I wouldn't say definitely not, but the Sebastian girl made her mother her beneficiary, and her mother's an invalid in a rest home.
Did you know the mother has taken up with an old flame?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Goes to see her 3 times a week. Crazier things have happened. I'll get the file for you. Sit down. Now, this is all we've got so far, pending the coroner's inquest and the autopsy report. Here's a photo of where she was found.
Shallow water. That's the bridge?
Uh-huh. She was lying right about there. But I don't think you have to worry about suicide, Dollar. As far as I'm concerned, it wasn't.
I'll buy that, too. I wouldn't say this bridge is a suicide type. It's too low.
Yeah. And there's another thing. I've been on the force for more years than I like to count, and I've run into my share of suicides. But I've never known a woman to do it that way without taking off her coat.
Oh?
Yeah, usually shoes, too. I've learned that's part of a generally accepted pattern.
The Sebastian girl didn't fit the pattern, huh?
Yeah, here's the way she looked. Coat on, belt still tied. Shoes. Her purse is still missing. We're searching the stream for it.
How old was she?
21.
She was a beautiful girl.
Yeah, I noticed that. I try not to, but with her, I couldn't help it.
How much questioning have you done, Lieutenant?
Oh, not as much as we'll do after the inquest.
When'll that be?
Day after tomorrow. Do you want anything more here?
No, thanks.
I'll give you the background we have on her. It's in my office.
I won't bother you anymore, Lieutenant DeRosa. Besides, I like to dig up backgrounds myself. I know them better if I do. Thanks a lot for your cooperation. I drove out to the stream where they'd found the girl's body, and there chalked up another point against her death being a suicide. The bridge from which she had dropped was a good 4 miles from town. On the assumption that she'd been brought there in a car, the placement of a body in regard to the 2 lanes on the bridge made it look as if the car was going toward Boston, not away from it. 5 minutes later, I was heading the same way.
Hello?
Miss Mary O'Neill?
Yes?
The manager suggested I come up. He told me you shared this apartment with Joan Sebastian.
That's right. Who are you?
My name's Dollar. I'm from her insurance company. I'd like to talk to you about her if I could.
Oh, I suppose so, but there's nothing I can do now. This is the biggest shock I've ever had. I always said there'd be trouble. But I never thought she'd do anything like this.
Maybe she didn't.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, there are signs that say maybe she didn't commit suicide.
There are?
Do you think she had any reason to?
Well, that's what I said. I never thought she would. Sit down. Any place.
Thanks.
Poor little Joan. What does it mean?
I'm not sure. Did you say you expected trouble?
Oh, yeah, I kept telling her. It was the way she went, like she couldn't live fast enough, like there wasn't time to get everything done. She'd been like that ever since she got rid... I mean, her mother went into that hospital. Joni was all tied down taking care of her before.
What could have caused the trouble?
Well, I'm not saying she was wrong or anything, but... Well, there were too many men.
I imagine that was easy for her.
Sure was. Too easy.
Do you mind telling me who they were?
Well, I don't know. Only about one. Harold Corey. He's gone with her the longest.
Harold Corey.
Yes, he drives for the North American van lines. Sometimes he goes way out to the West Coast. And, well, while he was gone, Joni didn't stay home and catch up on her reading, if you know what I mean.
I think I do.
She went out with a different guy almost every night. I didn't pry, but she never tell me who they were. You think somebody killed her, don't you?
Would you help me try to find out?
What could I do?
You didn't want to pry, but I get paid to. I'd like to look at her things.
Well, I suppose it's my duty, sort of, isn't it?
In a way, yeah. But I can't force you to.
Oh, I know it's the thing to do. Some of her drawers are locked, but I'll show you what I can.
I started on the locked dresser drawers. They gave up and opened after a brief struggle, but contained on the whole things that might normally be locked up because of their value. Imported perfumes, expensive lingerie, and some jewelry. The only thing that looked as if it might have been hidden for the sake of secrecy was under the jewel box. It was a gold key, a functional house-type key, but with meaning added because the head of the key was heart-shaped. It hung from a fine gold chain.
Oh, I never saw that before. Never saw the perfume before either, but I smelled it.
That's a few $100s worth of scent. And the rest of it was Joan used to such expensive things?
Well, not that I know about. Harold Corey sure couldn't shell out that kind of money. A heart-shaped key. It's cozy.
I'd like to keep it if I could.
Well, I don't know about that. After all, it isn't mine. I might get into trouble.
You won't, I promise you. I'm working with the police on this thing. I want to find out where it was made if I can and who ordered it.
Oh, I get it. Sure, I wouldn't stop you from doing that, even if I could.
North American Van Lines.
I wonder if I could get some information about a driver of yours, Harold Corey. I phoned his home and couldn't get him. Is he out of town?
Just a second. Yeah. Harold Corey's on a run to Philadelphia.
Oh? When's he due back?
He's doing tonight, about 3 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Thanks very much. Expense account item 3, $7, drinks and dinner after I checked into the Bristol Hotel. Item 4, a nickel, phone call to Joan Sebastian's employer. Edward Hollis was at home and would see me.
Come into the living room, Mr. Dollar. We may as well be comfortable.
It's nice of you to see me, Mr. Hollis. I thought it'd be better to do it this way rather than bother you at work.
Of course, and I appreciate it. The atmosphere at the office has been gloomy enough. Oh, this is Mrs. Hollis, Mr. Dollar.
Oh, how do you do?
Quite well, thank you. I didn't know the poor girl, but it's a dreadful thing.
Yes, I'm afraid it is.
They don't understand. Young girl like that with everything to live for.
Well, it may be even worse than that.
Worse? How could it be worse?
It looks more and more like her death was not a suicide.
Oh. Mr. Dollar.
I didn't mention it on the phone. The police think it was murder, though, and so do I. I thought it'd be better to save the blow until I get out here. You know, murder's pretty messy.
Well, this is a shock. I suppose I could be dragged into a courtroom along with everybody else who knew her.
Edward.
Beatrice, you run along upstairs. There's no reason for your going through this.
All right, Edward. I think I'd rather. Good night, Mr. Dollar.
Good night. I'm sorry, but it couldn't be helped.
Of course it couldn't. I understand.
I'll make this as fast as possible, Mr. Hollis. I don't know how much you knew about Joan Sebastian's private life.
I knew nothing. I have a number of girls in the office, and it's been my philosophy to remember that not too long ago, I was as young as they are. As long as they do their work well, I ask no questions. As a matter of fact, I have no right to.
Sure. From what I've gathered, she was mixed up emotionally. She hadn't had much freedom because of an invalid mother she took care of.
Well, I did know that.
When the mother went to a hospital, Joan began to make up for lost time. She led her friends to believe that she ran around with a lot of men. But I don't believe that.
Oh?
I think it was one man. Would you give me the names of the girls she worked with? I'd like to talk to them and find out if something may have come out over lunch or cocktail.
Yes. I'd rather my staff wasn't upset too much, but I'll tell you. You'll want to question them separately?
That's right.
And I could give you their names now, but if you'll phone me at the office in the morning, I'll give you their addresses and phone numbers.
That would help.
Good. You can call any time after 9:30.
I called the next morning and got a list of 6 feminine names, which I pocketed for later reference. And at 10:30, I was at the home of Harold Corey, a ground-floor apartment on Hemingway Street.
Yeah, who is it?
My name is Dollar.
Come later, will you? I don't want to talk to anybody right now.
I'm an insurance investigator. I want to talk to you about Joan Sebastian.
Who have you talked to? Why did she do it?
She didn't.
What do you mean? It's a mistake?
In a way, yeah. It's murder.
Murder? You're crazy.
Am I?
Oh, maybe you are. She'd never kill herself, would she? She had no reason to.
When did you see her last?
Night before I left for Philadelphia.
When was that?
2 nights ago, Tuesday. I left at 5 Wednesday morning.
She was found Wednesday morning.
What are you driving at, mister?
When did you learn that she was seeing somebody else when you were out of town?
Didn't know she was.
Look, Corey, I'm not tossing suspicions around to see how they bounce off you. You're in a bad way. Do you know that?
You're telling me you think I killed her? Me? I loved her. I wanted to marry her.
That's a motive, not an alibi.
Get out of here, will you? Leave me alone.
You aren't helping yourself with this act. You're making it worse.
Get out of here before I do have a murder to answer for. Get out. Get out!
Lieutenant DeRosa.
This is Dollar, Lieutenant.
Hey, I've been kicking myself for not getting your hotel yesterday.
Well, I didn't have one then, but I got a few things to pass along to you now.
Well, if it's the Sebastian thing, save him.
What do you mean?
It's suicide after all.
How come?
Autopsy report. There was concussion from that drop from the bridge, but that wasn't the cause of death.
Now, wait a minute.
Cause of death was from carbon monoxide. It looks like she pulled the suicide where it would embarrass somebody, and they tossed her in the creek to get her out of the way. Hello? You still there, Dollar?
Yeah, I'm still here. This is where I came in.
We'll return you to the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, in just a moment. But first, one of radio's greatest stars has returned to CBS The Stars Address. He's Frank Sinatra. Frank will be here every Sunday afternoon for a full hour of songs, comedy, and commentary on popular music. The Frank Sinatra Show is a part of CBS's new lineup of entertainment on Sunday afternoons. Join CBS every Sunday afternoon, won't you? Now, with our star, Edmund O'Brien, we return you to the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Come in.
Yes, Sergeant said you were waiting for me.
Oh, yeah. I told him you'd be showing up. Sit down, Dollar. You didn't seem to like the latest development.
Well, I've been working from other directions. Give it to me again, will you?
Well, here's the autopsy report. Death by asphyxia caused by carbon monoxide, agent unknown. Probably automobile engine exhaust. That's the most popular these days.
Do you believe this, Lieutenant?
I believe what's on the report.
And how did you say she got into the river?
I said maybe she committed suicide somewhere so that somebody would get involved. Maybe in the driveway of somebody who didn't want to get involved. To get rid of her, she was probably moved to the stream. What's the matter? Don't you like that?
What else does the report say?
Oh, symptoms of severe concussion. I thought you'd be happy with this suicide evidence.
The insurance company hired me to dig up facts. If it was suicide, all right. But if it wasn't, they want to know that, too. And I don't think it was.
Why not?
Well, from what I've learned, she wasn't the type. She liked to be alive, and she played it hard enough to leave some motives lying around. Jealousy, for one.
That boyfriend of hers?
Ah, you know about him, then.
Yeah, Corey, isn't it? A truck driver?
That's right. And then there's this. Look.
What's this unlock?
I wish I could tell you. It was given to her by somebody. I'd like to know who. Would you put a couple of men on it, find out where it was made? I could do it, but I think the police can get it done faster.
All right, Dollar, I'll stick my neck out that far. I'm under orders, you know that. I have to be assigned before I can investigate.
Yeah, sure.
But I'll take your story upstairs and see what the chief says. Let me know what else you find.
I will. Say, do you have the address of the old flame you mentioned? The mother's friend?
Still like to settle for fraud, would you? The desk sergeant will give you his address. His name's Paul Anderson.
You Mr. Anderson?
I am.
I'm from Joan Sebastian's insurance company. Wonder if you'd spare me a few moments.
Why, yes, I suppose so. Come in. I didn't know she had a policy.
She did. $25,000 to go to her mother.
I see.
Her death has been classed as a suicide, which voids the policy. The 2-year self-destruction clause is still in effect.
And that's a pity.
Why'd you say that?
Well, it's the least she could do for poor Mildred.
That's her mother?
Yes, an extremely young mother who has almost ruined her life for that girl.
I didn't know that.
Daughter was born when Mildred was only 17. She was left to care for the child herself. I helped as much as I could.
How well did you know the girl after she grew up?
Why, she was a friend of her mother's. Why do you ask?
Which one did you know first?
I don't see what this has to do with the
You
matter.
don't have to answer.
I don't want you to misunderstand. There's nothing to be hidden. I suppose it is unusual. I did meet Joan first. But when she took me to her house and I met her mother, I realized that Joan was, well, no more than a cheap little opportunist. The complete opposite from her mother. As I say, I suppose it is unusual.
And that doesn't make any difference. Point is that you dropped the girl in favor of her mother. Is that it?
It wasn't the gross situation you evidently wish it had been. I realized Mildred's condition and the lack of care. I knew she needed someone, and I did what I could for her.
Did you send her to the rest home?
I did. Now, look here. This has gone far enough. You asked me these questions for one reason, so that you can make your own conclusions, haven't you?
I didn't know it showed.
It does. Think I sent Mildred to the home to get her out of the way, don't you? That is not the case. You can think what you like. Go ask Mildred if you care to.
I won't bother her. Do you know anything about a gold key that Joan had?
A gold key? No, I don't know anything about a gold key. I've known very little about Joan all these past months. I could have told you that she was headed toward a bad end a long time ago. Now she's reached it. There's no one to blame but herself.
It was 4 p.m. then, and at 5, I was standing in front of the North American Band building on Columbus Avenue as Harold Corey backed a big rig into a parking area and headed for a quick-order restaurant. Hello, Corey.
What this time?
Dispatcher tells me you're going out on another run. Pretty short layover, isn't it?
That's right. I asked for it. I figured driving, I'd get my mind off this thing. What do you want?
Do you know how she died?
I read about it. Carbon monoxide.
Do you still think it couldn't have been suicide?
She's dead. That's as far as I can think.
You knew about Paul Anderson, didn't you?
What about Paul?
That he might have been more interested in Joan than he was in her mother?
I suppose you're just doing a job, aren't you? What you say is true. I didn't know about it. If I had known about it, I would have gone after him, not Joan. I can't take any more, mister.
Look, I don't enjoy it either, Corey. Like you say, I'm just doing a job. After questioning the 6 girls who had worked with Joan Sebastian, I was still nowhere. None of them knew anything about her private life. But the next morning, the police located a goldsmith who said he remembered making the key.
The police told me you might come in, Mr. Dollar. No trouble at all. We're happy to oblige.
Good. You've seen the key?
Yes, the officer showed it to me. Oh, friendly young man.
I have it with me. You're sure you made it?
Oh, yes, positive. See here, I'll admit to a quaint conceit. You see here? Potted scroll? See the letters?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, CS.
My initials, Cedric Foss.
Oh.
But I haven't the faintest recollection who I made it for. I told that young officer that, too. I don't even remember when. Oh, there's so much work, you know.
Well, maybe I can help you. It would have been between 7 and 8 months ago. You keep any kind of record?
Oh, of course I do. I'm bound to. A matter of law. 7 or 8 months should... let me see. That would be November, October, September.
7 would be March. 8 would be February.
Oh, yes, of course. Here we are. Frankly, I'm intrigued. How many of my items may have been involved with tragedy? Who knows? Perhaps I'm a curse.
I was hoping you'd be a cure for this one.
Well, I hope so. You wouldn't know what week or day?
Oh, I'm afraid not.
Oh, my. Oh, my. February wasn't a very good month, was it? Post-holiday slump. Reset, change rings high, set opals. Dreadful stuff.
What?
No. It's much too small. Key for a jewel box. Well, let me see. March. Yes, engraved spoon. Reset, repair, place. Here it is. Door key in gold. March 17th.
What name?
Do not deliver. Will call J.E. Carter.
J.E. Carter.
Does that help?
No, not a bit. Do you remember anything about him?
No, paid in cash. Wait, now, that was the day Mrs. Brand brought the baby shoe in for placing. She's the councilman's wife. I remember that. It was snowing.
That was the day it was ordered,
Yes, Now, wait a minute. It was modeled from a plain old cast house key.
Uh-huh.
I cannot picture him. But I'd done some apartment keys, and he said this was for a cottage.
Outside of town?
It was a surprise for his wife, someplace on the bay. I remember that because of the hideous weather, and I could just feel that wind coming through one of those summer cottages.
Now, do you think you'd recognize him if you saw him again?
Well, I can't say until I do. I could try.
Well, we may have to call on you then. Thanks. Thanks a lot. I think you've helped.
How'd you make out with that fussy little man, Dollar?
We found the day the key was ordered, and he remembered a few things because a councilman's wife came in the same day.
Why?
Well, the customer, Carter was the name he used, mentioned a cottage on the bay. Now, that's east, and the girl's body was found northwest of here. I think she was dumped from a car coming toward Boston from out there. So I think the cottage is in that direction.
Deduction yet.
Look, if I were going to dump a body, I wouldn't carry it across 2 traffic lanes, would you?
I'm being paid to think about another case. I couldn't sell the murder pitch upstairs. But I tried, and I'll buck for a promotion if you're right and upstairs is wrong.
I don't suppose you could earn that promotion by assigning some men to cover that section.
Huh? Oh, not a chance. That's county. Division of responsibility.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And I, for one, wouldn't be surprised to know how many people have died because of that division of responsibility. Expense account item 4, $35 mileage covering a 2.5-day search of real estate offices northwest of Boston. Object, a cottage rented a few days before March 17th by a man possibly using the name J.E. Carter. It was morning to night legwork, but on the afternoon of the 3rd day, it paid off. I found an agent who had rented a cottage to a J.E. Carter. She took me out, but before we went into the place, I noticed a lean-to garage marked up by plenty of tire tracks. Inside, I found a stained rug, among other things.
Well, Mr. Dollar, I've always said I personally vouch for the people I do business with.
You never know, do you?
I should say you don't. You want to go now?
I think I've seen enough. Let me lock it. I want to see if this key fits.
It does fit.
Yeah, it sure does.
Dollar.
Hello, Mr. Hollis. May I come in?
Why, yes, of course. Come in. Well, I didn't expect you to come back.
Didn't you, Mr. Hollis? You thought you'd get away with this, huh?
What did you say?
Well, now, there's no reason to be clever with each other, Mr. Hollis. I know you killed her. You rented a cottage out beyond Mystic River. You used the name J.E. Carter when you bought the gold key.
I did that?
I'm afraid you did.
Come into the other room. Yes, you're right, I did. I became infatuated with her. If you'd known her, you'd understand. I realized last week that it had to stop, and I told her. She had been going with that young Corey boy. I told her that even if I was single and eligible to marry, I would advise her to hang on to him, someone her own age.
That was last Tuesday night?
Yes. She left the cottage, and I heard her drive off. Or at least I thought I did. When I went out, I learned what she had really done. She committed suicide in the car. You can hardly blame me for wanting to keep the secret.
No, you've been reading the papers, Mr. Hollis. Suicide and all that. I've been inside your cottage. You didn't do a very good job of cleaning up the bloodstains.
You're right, Mr. Dollar. There seems to be no longer any reason to attempt cleverness. I'll make my statement to the police.
I'll drive you down.
Thank you. How did you find out, Dollar?
There was a Wall Street Journal there, addressed to you.
Oh, I see.
Edward?
Beatrice, go upstairs.
No, Edward, I won't.
I insist, Beatrice.
What good would it do? Do what I've done because I lost you? Why should you ask me to go upstairs while I lose you again?
I forbid you to say another word.
Forbid, Edward. You have no right. I found them, Mr. Dollar. It took a long time, but I found them. She had taken him from me because she was beautiful. And I no longer am. I was waiting in the cottage. And when they came in, I struck her.
Is this true, Mrs. Hollis?
I killed her. And since there was nothing left, we carried her to the cop.
Beatrice. Beatrice, what have I done? What have I done?
Expense account item 5, $110 final bill for car rental. Item 6, $85 miscellaneous. Expense account total, $356.75. Remarks? I don't know what sticklers the Massachusetts law courts are, but Joan Sebastian was not killed by the wronged wife. She was unconscious but alive when Hollis put her in his car trunk. She died there by carbon monoxide. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, stars Edmund O'Brien in the title role and is written by Gil Dowd with music by Wilbur Hatch. Edmund O'Brien may soon be seen in the Paramount Pictures production Warpath. Featured in tonight's cast were Virginia Gregg, Howard McNear, Virginia Eiler, Wally Mayer, John Stevenson, Bill Johnstone, and Raymond Burr. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is transcribed in Hollywood by Jaime Del Valle. This is Dan Coverly inviting you to join us next week at this time when we will again bring you Edmund O'Brien as...
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Stay tuned for Vaughn Monroe's Caravan, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, where Hopalong Cassidy rides every Saturday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Well, Johnny Dollar gets to the bottom of another mystery from October 28th, 1950. Wow, Slim just keeps on going. Up next, Richard Diamond will take us to the House of Mystery, and we'll do that right after this message from the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
You're tuned to the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV. We use advertising revenue to make this service available to you. If you have a business and would like to get your message out to our ever-increasing audience, give us a call at 715-563-1749. We'll be happy to discuss our budget-friendly advertising packages with you. Get your business noticed on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV by calling 715-563-1749.
You know, Slim only gets out on Halloween, so he's sure going to make the most of it. You keep it up, Slim. For us, it's a visit with Richard Diamond Detective. Dick Powell starred in the Richard Diamond Private Detective radio series as a wisecracking former police officer turned private detective. Episodes typically open with a client visiting or calling cash-strapped Diamond's office and agreeing to his fee of $100 a day plus expenses, or Diamond taking on a case at the behest of his friend and former partner, Walter Levinson. In this episode, a dead man with a lousy sense of humor is haunting Mrs. Julia Bates, a new widow. Dick Powell sings, "I don't stand a ghost of a chance with you," after this well-done comic ghost story. Julia Bates wants Richard Diamond to stay at her house tonight as she is afraid of the house she lives in. Her husband died 3 months ago and is buried in a crypt in the house. He was a strange man who believed in mysticism and built the house with secret passages and rooms that lead nowhere. In his will, he stipulated that his wife must live in the house for a period of 3 months following his death, and the 3 months is up tomorrow. Now from December 10th, 1949, Richard Diamond Detective in the House of Mystery.
Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, Private Detective.
Are you Mr. Diamond?
Creditor or client?
I'm a client.
I'm a Diamond.
I'm glad.
It's a little informal, but hello, Glad. Call me Rick.
Oh, no. My name is Julia Bates.
Mrs.?
Yes, but you don't have to call me Mrs. Bates. I'm a widow, you see.
Oh.
In fact, it may help our relationship if you call me Julia.
Oh, well, here we go again. All right, Julia, you can call me Rick. The fee's $100 a day in expenses.
I want you to stay at my house tonight.
I said $100 a day in expenses.
Oh, the fee is all right, Mr. Rick. Money means nothing.
Yeah, well, you think your way and I'll think mine.
I'll make out a check right now.
No hurry. Anytime in the next 10 seconds.
Oh, there.
Thanks. Now, about this assignment.
Well, it may sound silly, but I'm afraid of the house I live in.
Oh, dandy.
I said it might sound silly,
Mm-hmm.
but it's deadly serious, I assure you.
No, I'm sure it is.
You see, my husband, Warner Bates, died 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very strange man and believed devoutly in many forms of mysticism.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he built this house as a monument to his beliefs and filled it with secret passages and rooms and steps that lead nowhere.
Why not move out?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. It's because of the money.
Oh.
In his will, Warner stipulated I was to live in the house for a period of 3 months following his death. 3 months is up tomorrow. And it doesn't help that Warner is buried in the basement vault.
What's he doing? Watching Benny's money?
Well, he had a crypt built in the cellar, and a key, the only key to it, was placed in his coffin.
What's supposed to happen tonight?
Well, let me tell you the whole story. A month ago, I began to hear the strangest things in the house at night, and I found food half eaten on the kitchen table.
Ever try setting traps?
Well, the worst shot came when I went to the cellar a few days ago. I found footprints in the dust, naked footprints, leading to and from the crypt.
Maybe he had to take a shower.
Oh, please let me finish. On his deathbed, Warner swore he'd visit me at the end of the 3rd month, and if he could, take me with him back to the spirit world.
Oh, and tonight is the night.
Yes. Oh, at first, I didn't think it would get me, but... Oh, I'm scared, really scared.
Yeah, well, now look, baby, let's get off this mystic kick. Who inherits if you don't live up to your requirements?
Well, that's just it. No one. That is, no person. The money goes to charities and schools.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Anderson, the executor of the estate, says the will is foolproof, legal, and binding. Either I live in the house until noon tomorrow or forfeit the inheritance.
So what you wanted me to do is hang around tonight and see that hubby doesn't go death walking.
Yes, that's right. You don't have to be there till dark, but, don't be any later than that. Say 6 o'clock?
Excuse me.
Diamond Detective Agency, freewheeling corpses. Ask the man who kills one.
Red, when are you going to stop those awful slogans?
Oh, hello, Helen, baby. Gotta call you back. Got a client.
Oh, all right. Is she pretty?
I don't know. I'm parked behind a curve.
What?
Oh, forget it. I'll call you back. Bye. Now, Julia, you better go on home. Where's your broom?
Broom? Do you think I look like a witch?
You don't look like one. More like the good fairy after she'd heard about men. Now, you fly on home, sweetheart, and I'll see you at 6.
Don't be late.
I'll be there with bones on. I tried to uncurl my toes and get my mind on business. Thinking of my spook client didn't seem to help, but it was business. It was getting pretty late in the afternoon, so I put the office to bed for the night, picked up a bite to eat, and went over to the 5th Precinct to keep a coffee date with Lieutenant Levinson. When I walked into the squad room, I spotted Sergeant Otis with his nose in a book. Oh, hello, Otis. What's with the book? Don't tell me you're learning to read.
Hello, Shamus. How's tricks?
The book, Sergeant. What's the book?
What book? Lieutenant's inside. He said for you to go right in when you came.
Otis, tell Uncle Richard about the book.
Oh, it's just a book. Yeah, I was trying to improve myself.
Well, don't feel ashamed, Otis. You've got reason to do that.
Yeah, very funny.
Let's see. The art of graceful dancing. Otis.
Well, what's wrong with me dancing, Shamus? I don't want to be no social outcast.
Dancing? Well, maybe. But graceful? Otis, you couldn't be graceful even if your feet did match. Tell you what, though, I'll give you a hand. Now, just open your arms and pretend you have a dame. Go on, I'll start you on a waltz.
Well, okay.
Da-da-dee-dee-dum. Tweet, 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 tweet. Da-da. Oh, no, Otis. You look like an elephant with sprained ankles. Now, try again and close your eyes. Ya-da-dum-dee-dee-dee-dee.
Otis, where's your button? Otis! Put me down! What? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I thought you was a dame.
You what?
Oh. I mean, I had my eyes closed. I was dancing. Oh, Lieutenant, the shamus talked me into it.
Rick, would you mind telling me what you were doing?
Saving Arthur Murray ulcers.
Yeah, well, come on in and get some coffee. And Otis.
Yeah?
Shut up.
Shall I pour? Please do. You know how I like mine, Walt.
Yeah, no cream, 12 lumps.
Better change that.
I would think so. Okay, how many?
Make it 14. Your coffee's stronger than mine.
It's not so strong, Rick. Here.
Thanks. You better wipe that spot off the desk. The varnish is beginning to smoke.
Your jokes aren't any better. Going to stick around for the Hart game tonight?
I can't, Walt. I've got a client with a house full of spirits.
What?
The dead kind.
With you on the job, there'll be corpses jumping out of every window.
Yeah. Well, if they start, I'll give you a call.
I know. Why don't you give up being a detective, Rick? Play postman or something.
Walt, you just don't seem to appreciate my favors. I'm getting late. It's nearly 6.
It's a peaceful night, Rick. See if you can't keep it that way.
Oh, sure, Walt, sure. This is one night you can take it easy. Give me 2 more lumps, please. Leaving Walt and heading to the Bates house, I was feeling as happy as a bird in a hat full of worms. I had $100 to stall off the landlord, a lovely red-headed girlfriend with curves, and a spook client with trouble. Everything great. Then the storm began to blow up. It had started to rain when I saw the Bates house on Temple Street. A big, ugly house straight out of a horror story, with gables and shuttered windows. And as if that wasn't enough, I was met at the door by a butler who was a tiny thing, about 7 feet tall and 300 pounds, with a face like the devil with a hangover.
Come in.
Yeah, I wanted to see
Mrs. Bates, of course. You are Mr. Diamond.
She left word with you?
I need no word. I am the 7th son.
Of a what?
The 7th son.
Of a... Oh, no, this could go on forever. Okay, lead on.
The name is Kane.
Yeah? How's your brother?
What?
Forget it. Where's your, Mrs. Bates?
In the drawing room. This way, sir.
cozy little mausoleum. What time do the ghosts come out?
Usually right after the vampires, sir.
Oh, dandy. I hope they have an early show.
Oh, it will be soon enough, sir. The dead are restless tonight.
Maybe if I rocked them to sleep. Got a rock?
Mrs. Bates. Mr. Diamond.
Oh, thank you, Kate. Hello, Rick. How do you like my house?
Oh, it's lovely. What do you use for doorknobs? Heads? And what's with the big zombie? You didn't mention him.
Kane? Oh, he's a fixture around here, but I get frightened more when he's around than when he's gone.
Oh, well, now you take it easy, baby. Come on over and sit down and let me chase those fears away.
Oh, that is an idea.
Name me a better.
Can I fix you a drink?
Oh, I think I'll take a glass
of milk, sir. Here you are.
Oh, now, hey, look, Crusher, put a bell around your neck or something. One more surprise like that, and you'll be best man at a funeral.
My apologies. Your milk, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Come on, Julia, let's get back to where we were. And you, Kane, you... Hey, where'd he go?
Rick, there it is.
Huh? Yeah.
That's the way it starts. Listen. It's the stairs to the cellar. Someone's climbing them.
What? Oh, it's probably Kane.
You wanted me, sir.
Kane? Then who... You wait in here, Julia. I'll go out and get our nosy friend.
The cellar door is at the end of the hall.
I left Julia looking as nervous as a one-legged man walking a tightrope and took off down the long hall. There was only one door, the one to the cellar, so I opened it and flipped on the switch. I was moving my ankles down the creaking steps when I heard trouble. What the devil? Julia! Julia! Are you hurt? What is it?
Rick, over there in the closet. A dead man.
Oh, no. There's no dead man in here.
Not there. But I saw him, Rick. I swear there was a man in there. He was all bloody, and there was a big knife in his chest.
Oh, but you must have been mistaken.
About a corpse, Rick. He was there.
I don't see... Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Here on the floor, bloodstains.
You see, there was a man in there.
This is blood, all right. But where'd the body go? He couldn't have been moved that fast. Unless... Where's Kane?
Right here, Mr. Diamond. But I did not move the dead one.
No? Where were you just now when Julia screamed? Having tea with a vampire?
No, I was in the kitchen, sir. Do not be mystified, Mr. Diamond. Accept the fact that you are in a house controlled by the other world.
There's been a murder, Kane, and that brings it into this world.
Who are you calling?
A real-life cop who likes to know about dead bodies kicking around.
Lieutenant Levinson, homicide.
Walt, Rick.
Oh, no. I know that tone. Where's the body?
I wish I knew. Come on over to 209 East Temple Street.
Wait. What do you mean you wish you knew? Is there a body there?
Well, it's here someplace. Now, don't argue. Get over here.
Wait.
And hurry. Now, Kane, you can go back to the kitchen, but stay there. Don't roam around.
As you wish, sir.
And now, Julia, baby, we're going to do some investigating.
Investigating?
That's right. I got a big yen to see what's in that vault downstairs. And this time, I'm taking you with me.
But, Rick, it's locked.
I hope so, but I'm not making book.
You mean you think it may actually have been Warner come back from the dead? And kill that man, I mean?
Right now, I don't know what to think. I wouldn't be surprised to run into Dracula sitting on top of the Wolfman. Here's the basement. Hey, who turned out the light? I know I turned it on before. Yeah, that's better. Come on.
Oh, Rick, it's cold down here. Oh, hurry, Rick. I'm getting scared.
No, I don't like the feel of it myself, but I want to check this vault.
See the footprints there in the dust?
I see them, but I don't believe them, not yet. Yeah, I'll try the door of the vault.
Why, it's unlocked.
Yeah, look what's inside.
The coffin is empty.
It's empty, all right, and it's open.
Well, are you going inside?
No. I think I'll stay out here.
The light! Rick, who put out the light?
It wasn't Edison, baby. We got company.
I told you I'd come back for you.
Warner?
Hey, what is this?
I am dead.
Oh.
You know who I am, don't you, Julia?
Yes. Yes, I know it's you, Warner.
I'm coming for you tonight, Julia. I will appear at 9 o'clock.
I better set my watch.
Be prepared to meet me, Julia, at 9 o'clock.
No, Warner, no.
Take it easy, baby.
Rick, you down there?
Oh, hallelujah. Yeah, well, turn on the lights.
Sure. There, they're on. Rick, what are you doing there? Oh, a block. I should have known. Well, do come upstairs and join me.
We're coming off.
Now, what is this all about, Rick? Wait.
In a minute, Walt. Otis, help Mrs. Bates into the living room. She's pretty shaken up.
Sure, Shamus. Come on, lady.
Now, what is all this about, Rick?
Now, come on back downstairs with me, Walt, and get your gun out. Somewhere in this cellar is a dead man with a lousy sense of humor. Well, we searched the long cellar but good while I briefed Walt on the events of the evening. Neither was much of a success. Walt didn't believe me, and our ghost remained a ghost. As we went back up into the living room, I was at a point where I didn't believe the things myself. They couldn't have happened, but they had. Hey, Otis, where did Mrs. Bates go?
She went upstairs to pack, Shamus. Said she was going to leave.
Leave? And give up her dough? Oh, for Pete's sake, she can't... Not just because of this ghost house.
Ghost house? Oh, this is the wackiest yet. Rick, if I didn't know you were so...
Walt, do I look like I'm happy about these things? I'm at a point where I'm believing in spooks and spirit worlds and dead men who talk from out of nowhere.
Yeah, so the Shamus is afraid of spooks. This I'm loving.
Otis.
I know, Lieutenant. Shut up.
Did I say that, Otis?
Well, no, Lieutenant. What do you want me to do?
Shut up.
Oh. Gee, I wish I had a glass of...
A glass of water, Sergeant.
Oh, come out from behind that chair, Otis. It's only Kane.
Who's he?
Well, didn't he let you in?
No, we found the door open. When we rang and no one answered, we came in.
Oh, did you? Hey, Kane, where were you? Did you hear the doorbell?
I knew the door was open, Mr. Diamond, and I was busy.
Like maybe playing ghost?
No, sir. Baking a cake.
Cake? Oh, swell.
I'm all packed. Will you take me to a hotel?
Now, but Julia, look, you can't leave. Think of the money.
Money or no money, I'm getting out of here, Rick. That was Warner's voice, and I just don't have the nerve to stay.
Oh, but look, baby, you know there aren't any such things as ghosts.
Do I? You were in the cellar with me. You heard him. And did you find anybody down there afterwards?
Well, no, but...
Just a minute, Mrs. Bates. You saw a murdered man earlier this evening, didn't you?
You know I did, in that closet.
Yeah, well, until I find out who he is and who killed him, you don't leave this house.
But Warner...
I'm sorry, Julia. We'll protect you, but you can't leave.
Otis, take Mrs. Bates into the library and make her comfortable.
Hey, Yellowton, come on, Mrs. Bates.
Well...
Now, Rick, enough is enough. How could there have been a body in that closet one minute and not the next? Where did it go and why?
Well, how the devil should I know? She saw it, screamed, I ran back, opened the closet, and it was gone.
Oh, great.
Now, come on. I want a better look at that closet. Well, looks all right. Wonder how it sounds.
Use your gun butt on the walls.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, but where's the latch? There must be some way to open this section.
Try those hooks.
Yeah. No, not them. Maybe this rack.
Hey, look. Secret room, just like in the movies. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. We found the corpse, Walt. And how he disappeared so fast.
Oh, some mess. Blood all over him.
Walt, hey, this is no corpse.
What? Oh, now, don't start that.
No? Well, look at it closer, Walt. It's a dummy.
Well, it is. A wax dummy with blood smeared on it.
No wonder I wasn't meant to see it.
Oh, this is it. I'm getting out of this crazy house. Corpses that talk, corpses that aren't corpses. I've had enough. This is just plain ridiculous.
Now, wait, Walt. Someone planted this dummy, and someone is trying to scare Mrs. Bates out of this house. That same someone is in this house right now, and if he isn't stopped, it may mean her murder. How are you feeling, Julia?
I'm exhausted, Rick, but
We found the body, Julia. It was a dummy.
A dummy? Well, then there wasn't any murdered man?
No, this whole thing is a bluff, even that voice in the cellar.
Oh, no, that couldn't be. That was Warner's voice, Rick. I know it was. And he's not in his coffin.
I know, baby, and I think that's all phony, too. Now, tell me, Who knew of that only key in the coffin business?
Well, just myself. And Mr. Anderson.
Anderson?
Oh, that's right. You remember, he was Warner's lawyer.
Oh, yeah. How about Kane? Did he know of the key?
Well, I don't know, Rick. He may have. Warner confided in him a great deal.
Rick, this isn't getting us any place. Come with me. Otis, you stay with Mrs. Bates.
Yeah, Lieutenant. All right, Walt. What are we going to do, grill the dummy?
Go ahead. Be funny. But I want to search this whole house.
Oh, Walt, this place is a nut house full of secret rooms and hocus pocus. It'd take 2 maps and a Ouija board to get around in it.
Well, I'm going to get around in it, and up these stairs is as good a place as any to start.
Oh! Hello, Walt.
Oh, stairs that lead to a blank wall. Rick, that's too much.
Now, would you stop playing games?
Playing games, he says. Oh, where is my bicarbonate?
Here you are, Lieutenant. Sorry to be late.
Where's the thunder, Kane? You're Mr. Q.
Will there be anything else, sir?
I don't see how, sir. Not unless Frankenstein drops in for a game of jacks.
I doubt if he will. Tonight it's at his house, so I'll be on hand if you need anything.
We won't. Go on back to your embalming. Come on, Walt. You feeling okay?
Oh, I'll never feel okay again. Rick, I've stood for your getting me mixed up in some crazy cases, but this night I'll never forget.
Oh, don't quit on me now, Walt. We still have to find that spook and keep Julia from being killed.
How? Please, tell me how.
Look, he said he was going to appear at 9 o'clock tonight to take her to the spirit world with him.
Yeah, well, I'll get a squad down here to see that he doesn't.
No, Walt, wait. He'll never show up if we're all hanging around, right?
Well, yeah.
The only way we can catch the ghost is for him to show up, right?
Yeah, go on. So what do we do?
So we pretend to leave, make a big fuss about giving the whole thing up. Then we sneak back in and hide. We wait and see if he shows up, and when he said he would, and if he does, we nab him. Case closed.
Well, it sounds screwy, but to wind this case up, I'll buy anything. Where do we hide?
We'll get Julia to wait in the living room. We'll sneak back and hide in that secret room behind the closet. If the ghost shows, we can grab him as soon as he gives himself away. And I think he'll show. After getting Julia to agree to the idea, Walt, Otis, and I made a big thing about leaving the house. Then we sneaked back in and hid in the secret room back of the living room closet. The closet door was open enough so we could see Julia pretending to read on the couch. And for the next few centuries, we waited. Waited for a dead man to keep a date. What time is it, Rick? It's 2 minutes to 9. If he's going to show, it won't be long.
Hey, you think a dead man really can come back to life?
If you don't shut up, Otis, I'll give you a personal chance to try.
I wish he'd hurry.
Yeah. Well, it's just time now. I hope Julia plays her part okay. She looks pretty nervous.
No, why would she be nervous? She's only waiting for a dead man.
A phony dead man, Walt, I hope.
Now, don't you start believing in ghosts. You know there aren't any such things. Rick, the lights went out. Shh, listen.
I told you I would come for you, Julia. It is 9 o'clock.
Oh, Warner, please don't take me out. I don't want to die.
Rick, that's him.
Shh, wait a minute, Walt.
I am of the dead, Julia. I am your husband.
Yes, I know you, Warner.
You must leave this house, Julia.
No.
Come on, Walt.
Right, and Otis, be quiet.
Oh,
I will. I know enough not to make any noise.
What was that?
Rick, hurry!
Come on, let's grab him.
We all took off after the ghost. It led us on the screwiest chase yet, in and out of the secret passages, upstairs, and then back downstairs again. Trying to lay hands on him was like trying to swat a fly with a piece of string. He finally made a break for the outside door. Then, not to be outdone, I made like a big athlete.
Hey, that was a pretty nifty tackle, Diamond.
Rick, you okay? Yeah. As soon as I get this hood off, I'm going to have a few words with this spook. There.
He's out cold.
Otis, bring Mrs. Bates in here.
Oh, okay.
Come on, you. Wake up.
Who is he?
I don't know. Come on, wake up. Before I make a real ghost out of you.
Okay, don't hit me anymore, please.
Here she is, Lieutenant. Mrs. Bates, do you know who this man is?
Why, it's Warner's lawyer, Mr. Anderson, the executor of the estate.
Sure, baby, had to be. All right, Buster, what's the story?
Oh, all right. It was the money. If I could get Julia to break the will, I had a dummy charity set up so I could get the estate.
He's all yours, Walt. Wrap him up.
It'll be a pleasure. Otis, put the cuffs on him. Take him out of here.
Yeah, Lieutenant. Come on, Spooky.
Well, that takes care of that. Hey, what about Kane? He must have known about all this.
Of course I knew, Lieutenant, but I did not wish to intrude. Those who interfere with the dead pay their own penalty.
Lose their haunting license?
Nothing. Oh, sir, my cake is done. Would you like some? It's devil's food.
No thanks. I'll skip it.
With nuts?
Julia, walk me to the door.
Well, of course, Rick.
I'll leave you with Kane, Walt. Tell him a ghost story. Feeling all right, baby?
Oh, yes, much better. I'm fine now that I know there's nothing to be afraid of. Tomorrow I'll be moving into an apartment. Will you come and see me? We have things to talk over.
Like what, honey?
Like sharing a mood. You know. Just the two of us.
With that, she reached up and showed me what she meant with a big smoochie. Oh, I'd have probably stuck around, but I was afraid the house would be too disturbing. I wouldn't have minded having to get up to chase the bats out of the room, but with Kane showing up every time I wanted something, well, that could have led to complications. So I left Walt and Otis to clean things up, bid a not-too-fond farewell to Kane, and went from the house of horror to the one that was full of redhead and a piano. The redhead was wearing a red dress with a new, you know what I mean.
Well, didn't think you were going to make it.
I had a tough case tonight, honey. Thought I might not get away at all.
Mm-hmm. I'll bet you did.
Why, Helen, baby, all of a sudden you sound suspicious.
Without any effort, darling. Especially when it comes to blondes.
Blondes? You mean girls?
Girls. Blonde girls with hair like this on your lapel.
Oh.
And the lipstick on your cheek and the look in your eyes.
Oh, you know how it is, honey. Brilliant detective saves client's life and fortune. She had to be grateful.
Brilliant detective. Just keep on making me so jealous of you, and one of these days the world is going to lose a brilliant detective.
No. Someone going to rub out Sam's fate?
Oh, what's the use?
Oh, now, baby, don't be mad. Come on, let's next.
No. I'm upset and I'm unhappy.
If I sing, will you be happy again?
No.
Well, I'll try. I'll sing my widowed head off. I need your love so badly. I love you oh so madly. But I don't stand a ghost of a chance with you. I thought at last I'd found you, but other loves surround you, and I don't stand a ghost of a chance with you. Are you listening? If you'll surrender just for a tender kiss or two, you might discover that I'm the lover meant for you, and I'd be true. But what's the good of scheming? I know I must be dreaming, but I don't stand a ghost of a chance with you.
You sang nice.
Do we neck?
No, it's still early enough to catch a late show.
Well, if I take you to the show?
Yes.
Okay. What's the show you want to see?
Oh, it's a wonderful horror picture full of spooks. The ghost talk.
Oh, no.
You have just heard Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell. Helen was played by Virginia Gregg. Lieutenant Levinson by Ed Begley.
Also in our cast were Wilms Herbert, Joan Banks, Paul Frees, and Robert Clark. Music was under the direction of Frank Worth. Portions were transcribed. Tonight's story was written by Herb Purdom and edited and directed by Blake Edwards. Dick Powell soon will be seen in the screen version of the best-selling novel, Mrs. Mike. Now, this is Tal Avery, inviting you to be with us again at the same time next week when we will again bring you Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective. What's on NBC tomorrow? There's great comedy in store for you on the Phil Harris, Alice Faye show when Phil and Frankie go shopping for Alice's Christmas present. And there's excellent drama on Theater Guild on the Air. Tomorrow, Richard Conte, Diana Lynn, and Shirley Booth will be starred in the Pulitzer Prize-winning play Street Scene on Theater Guild on the Air.
From protecting Julia from spirits to Helen wanting Richard to accompany her to a horror show, Diamond just can't catch a break in spite of his wisecracking references to Jack Benny and Sam Spade. And while Slim just keeps on grooving, we'll wrap up this year's Halloween Spooktacular with an episode of Suspense, right after this message from the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV are excited to bring you Colfax High School boys basketball throughout the 2023 through 2024 season.
This is what we came here for!
Our next game will be on Tuesday, November 28th, when the Vikings play host to the Amory Warriors. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN-TV begins with Viking pregame at 6:40 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking boys basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN-TV on Tuesday, November 28th.
Suspense was a CBS radio series that aired from 1942 to 1962. Suspense was dubbed radio's outstanding theater of thrills and was one of the great radio programs of the golden age of radio, drawing leading Hollywood actors of the time to star in Suspense episodes. A Swiss girl recreated the severed heads of individuals in wax who had just been guillotined during the French Revolution of 1793. She moved to London after marrying a Frenchman named Toussard and establishing Madame Toussard's waxworks. It is still standing near Baker Street Station in Marlborough, albeit it is not the original building that was destroyed by fire. So now, from November 17th, 1942, this is Menace in Wax from Suspense.
Suspense.
For Suspense, tonight we present Menace in Wax by John Dixon Carr.
During the French Revolution of 1793, a Swiss girl copied in wax the severed heads of those who had just been guillotined. She married a Frenchman named Toussard and came to London, and she founded Madame Toussard's Waxworks. There it is, still in Marylebone Road, near Baker Street Station. Not the original building. That was destroyed by fire. But it remained untouched when a darker shadow than revolution came to England. And they plastered high explosives all along that road and hit the cinema next door. We are going to London under the bomber's moon. Late one night in March of 1941, a young man hurried up to the great glass doors of Madame Tussaud.
Hey, open up here. Isn't there a night watchman around this place? There is
Governor, and I'm him. Now, what do you want at this hour of the night?
My name is Rogers. I'm from the Daily Record.
Oh.
If you let me get inside, I'll show you my press card. Didn't you get any orders about me?
Well, maybe I have at that. Oh, you're the bloke who wants to see the Chamber of Horrors.
That's right.
All right, you may as well come in.
My paper got a tip there's something funny going on around here.
Something funny going on here? That's a good one. The rain's not very heavy tonight, is it?
No, they're going over.
You ain't heard where, Governor?
We got a teletype flash. There was the Midlands.
Lord lummy, and I've got a sister in Birmingham. Oh, why can't she come and stop in a nice, safe place like London? There's the Regent's Park guns opening up again. My teeth rattle and shakes the hats off the dummies' heads. You know, this Chamber of Horrors is getting to be popular tonight.
You mean there's been somebody here before me?
Yes.
A woman?
That's right, Governor.
About 5 feet 2 inches tall, very pretty. If you like 'em, brunette and big-eyed and a phony French accent.
No, Governor, no. This was only an old lady that lost her handbag.
Oh, thank the Lord for that anyway. Now then, what is going on around here?
Well, I don't know, Governor. You'll have to ask Pearson about that.
Who's Pearson?
Oh, he's the bloke that's the watchman down there. He's old and he imagines things. He phoned your piper. Have you got an electric torch?
Yes.
Then go straight on through the marble hall and down the stairs on your left. And don't speak to the policeman, 'cause he's wax. Yes, that's the way, Governor. That's the way to the Chamber of Horrors.
Thank you. Pearson? Hello, Pearson. Pearson.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
You're looking for me.
Oh, gee, I didn't see you there. I must have thought you were one of these wax dummies.
Ugly dim light, isn't it?
Yes. Rogers is my name. I'm from the Daily Record.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you came over. I phoned your paper myself. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but...
Oh, I don't blame you. This place would make anybody nervous, especially during an air raid.
Well, sir, it's all right as long as you don't get to imagine they're watching you.
Oh, and do you?
Oh, yes. Sometimes. That's the gambling group in the center there.
Uh-huh. What's that thing over there?
That's the famous guillotine.
Oh, wait a minute, old boy. You're not trying to tell me that's the original guillotine?
No, that was burnt in the fire. Madame Tussaud bought it from Sanson, the executioner. Let me tell you something, Mr. Rogers.
What?
Years ago, this is straight, a young French woman came in here. There was nobody else in the place. She thought it'd be great fun to say she'd put her neck in the same guillotine as Marie Antoinette. So she climbed up on that platform. She snapped the little wooden collar down round her neck, shutting herself in. All of a sudden, she realized she didn't know which spring controlled the collar and which spring controlled the knife.
Oh, good Lord, she didn't...
No. But they say she went crazy. They say she screamed and screamed.
What's that?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you, but sweet mama, I'm so scared myself I cannot help it.
Susie.
Oh, no, not Susie. Susie? You make it so it rhyme with floozy. That is not nice.
Why, you little devil. I ought to turn you across my knee. What are you doing here? And will you forget that French accent? You're driving me crazy.
You know this young lady, sir?
Do I? She works for my paper. She's haunting me.
Oh, Bert, that's not nice. I like the way I talk. I only try to give you ideas.
That's just what I mean. Now take your arms from around my neck.
She's French, sir.
Her mother came from New York, like I did. She's got some funny ideas, accents, and disguises.
So I dress up as an old lady, and I come along, too. That is clever, no?
Definitely no.
But I go into what I think is the ladies' room, and there is Jack the Ripper. I'm so scared I almost kick the ghost.
Whatever else you do, miss, for the love of heaven, put out that cigarette.
It is not permitted?
It is what they are most afraid of in this place. Fire. If you vouch for this young lady, Mr. Rogers...
I don't vouch for anybody. But go on now. What's all the mystery here at Madame Tussaud's?
You see the group over there? It's called the Gamblers.
That 3 men And a woman in 18th century costume sitting around a table playing cards?
Yes. And about once a week, when the lights are out,
Yes.
those dummies do play cards.
Is this a publicity trick of some kind?
Oh, no, sir.
Then what's the game?
I'm not crazy. I know they don't actually do it, sir. What I want to know is who changes the cards round in their hands and why.
Well, could anybody? Anybody from the outside, I mean, get in to change the cards?
Oh, yes. There's a back door. But why would anyone want to break in here just to change those cards around?
Mon cher Ben, écoutez. Listen. I have made a discovery.
Listen, if you're going to talk, speak English. Or better yet, just keep still.
But I have made a discovery. This card game,
What about it?
it is crooked. Here is a man which has 2 deuces of hearts in the same hand.
Listen, Susie, I don't give a... Wait a minute. Let's have a look at those cards.
I give you ideas, yes?
Susie, for once you're right. And look here. 2 of these players have all the clubs and hearts. The other 2 have all the diamonds and spades. Susie, how many letters in the alphabet?
26, no?
And twice 26 is...
52.
The number of cards in a pack. Give me a pencil, Susie, quick.
The War Office, Whitehall. MI5, headquarters of military intelligence. There next morning in the map room used as an office by Colonel Warrender.
Mr. Rogers, I am a busy man.
I appreciate that, Colonel Warrender.
Anyhow, sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Now, what's all this? These cards you claim form a code, is that it?
Yes, sir. Now, look, sir. Let each letter of the alphabet represent a card in clubs and hearts. That's 26.
And then?
And then when you get to the middle of the message, switch the alphabet over to diamonds and spades. Then you won't keep on repeating. Now, will you read what I've got written on this piece of paper?
Jack of diamonds, Q. 3 of clubs, F. Well, that doesn't seem to mean much.
Oh, never mind the cards, Colonel. Just read the letters.
Q, F, A, C, T, O, R, Y.
Yes, sir. Q Factory. Go on.
Just a moment. What is that infernal noise? Johnson Burroughs.
Don't bother with that, sir. Just read the message, please.
Oh. Q Factory. 10 p.m., 15th.
Today's the 15th of March, Colonel.
Oh, all preparations made. Use dive bombers. I see. This message was left openly.
So openly that nobody ever noticed it.
Yes, the trick's been tried before.
No contacts, no gatherings, no letters that might be intercepted. A whole spy ring could walk through that wax museum and read the message without being seen.
You newspaper men trying to teach me my job?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I only...
No, go on.
Well, don't you see? 3 or 4 little boats with portable wireless sets go down the Thames estuary. When they're beyond pursuit, they send that message by radio. Somebody listens. And it's no secret in Fleet Street, sir, that Q Factory is out in the wilds of Gloucestershire.
There's no secret anywhere.
And that we're making the Shaftesbury bomber out there. So tonight, unless we do something about it, they're coming over and bomb Q Factory to blazes.
That's impossible.
Why? Or can't you tell me?
I can tell you this much.
Yes, sir?
Q Factory is so well hidden that even our own pilots can't find it from the air. That's one objection to this message.
Any other objection?
Yes, this talk about dive bombers. Dive bombers in a night attack? What's the good of a dive bomber if he can't see its objective?
Well, suppose somebody showed a light.
He'd be shot dead as soon as he showed it. Every inch of country for a quarter of a mile round the factory. A quarter of a mile, Mr. Rogers, is patrolled day and night.
Well, just the same, they're going to have a try at it, sir.
How?
I don't know how.
Then if you'll excuse me, Mr. Rogers...
Well, listen, Colonel Warrender, will you give me a pass to go down there to the factory?
Certainly not. No one's permitted to go there except the workers.
How is the place defended?
There's a night fighter station nearby, and several batteries of 4 3.7 guns.
Then give me a pass to the fighter station or to the gun post. That's a legitimate newspaper request.
Well, I might manage a pass to one of the gun posts, yes.
Then you'll do it?
Well, what on earth is that infernal row? It sounds like somebody locked up in a coat cupboard.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Colonel, it is somebody locked up in a coat cupboard. A young lady, so-called.
A young lady? Who locked her up?
I did.
And just what the devil do you mean, sir, locking up people in coat cupboards in the War Office?
Well, she's a bit excitable, Colonel. I thought that she'd better not see you.
So, thanks for the consideration.
There's just one other favor I'd like to ask.
As well?
If she asks you for a pass, don't give it to her. Don't give it to her under any circumstances.
What's her name?
Susie Dubois.
You're rather too late for that, young man. The Public Relations Office granted her a pass 2 hours ago.
What? Oh. A woman to an anti-aircraft battery?
This is what we call a mixed battery. Women on the guns as well as men. She said it would make a good human interest story for the press. I must say, I agree with her. One moment, Mr. Rogers, before you go.
Yes, sir.
That gun post is fully 2 miles from the factory. You can go there, but if you take one step further, you'll be shot on sight by our guards. I warn you.
I'll be careful, Colonel. I'll be careful.
Somewhere in the West Country, a yellow moon shines over bare trees. A white mist, moving, clings to the ground.
Susie, are you sure we're on the right road?
Mon cher, they have taken away all the signposts in case there is an invasion.
I know that.
But I follow the map. The map cannot be wrong.
We've been driving for hours. Must be... Yes, it is. Nearly 9:30. Half an hour to go. Trees, and still more trees.
Look, there's a break in the trees ahead. It will be open country in a minute.
Yeah. That's funny. Look how deep the leaves are here on the road.
But one thing I tell you, just between you and me and the bedpost.
Gatepost, Susie. The term is between you and me and the gatepost. And speak English.
I am speaking English very well, thank you. I do not need your help to be pure.
All right.
Now, this map.
Well, what about it?
It say we should go through a lot of villages. Mitford, Archidine, and Saffron-Weville. I have not seen any villages.
Did you say Mitford?
Oui, monsieur.
Susie, let me have a look at that map. Come on, hand it over.
But what is wrong? It is a perfectly good map.
Yes, Susie. It's a fine map. It's an excellent map. Only it's a map of the wrong county.
I have made a mistake? No?
I don't even believe you can read. This is a map of Barsetshire. We should be somewhere in Glebeshire. Now, where in the devil are we?
We're at the entrance to some kind of clearing with leaves on it.
Hello
there! What was that?
Somebody calling us. And if we're in forbidden area...
I see him now.
Where?
He's behind us. He came out of a white cottage back there. He's a big, heavy man with a mustache.
Never mind the mustache. He's wearing some kind of a uniform and he's got a rifle.
You think he plug us? No?
I think it is not unlikely. Get out those War Office passes of ours. Wait.
Good evening, my friends.
Good evening.
Can you tell me...
No, we don't mean any harm.
Can you tell me what time it is?
Oh, what time it is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's, 28.5 past 9.
Thank you. I will keep you covered while I set my watch. There. My next question is, would you like me to shoot you both?
No.
Listen, Mr.
McAllister.
Captain McAllister.
That's right.
Captain, this girl, she's been reading the wrong map. You see, we don't even know where we are.
You're in Hollywood Forest, my friend.
Hollywood Forest?
Is that good or bad?
And you don't know what's just beyond the edge of this clearing?
No.
There's a big open space of 1/4 mile. In the middle of that open space...
Q Factory. We're right on top of it.
Then you have heard of Q Factory, my friend.
Captain McAllister, we're from the War Office, and we've got passes to prove it.
Let's see the passes.
We were trying to find gun site number... I've forgotten the number. But it's here on that card.
You've passed the gun site. 2 miles back up the road. All right. Here are your passes.
What are you going to do to us?
I'm not in the regular army. You can thank your stars I'm not. I'm forestry preservation.
Oh. You are not going to chuck us in the cooler, even?
No. Now turn that car around, get back along this road as fast as you can. If they fire at you, as they probably will...
Oh, I wish I am home. Pray no more, I wish I am home.
Well, then hope for the best. My watch had stopped, and you did me a good turn. Well, hurry along. Hurry.
Gun sight of heavy attack battery. 4 3.7 guns against a moon growing clear white. White as the concrete emplacements, sealed against light where the crews, men and women, sitting, waiting.
Well, sir, glad to have you both here. But this idea of yours about dive bombers attacking a blacked-out factory in the middle of a forest is rather fantastic, don't you think?
Well, I admit it doesn't make much sense, Captain Bronson, but I have a hunch that I'm right.
Well, glad you and Miss Susie drove out. Don't see many strangers. Frightfully boring. Nice country, of course, good air and everything, but dull. Dull as ditch water.
What's that?
Only some of the lads and lasses inside. Like to walk along the emplacement here?
Oh, is that allowed?
Oh, certainly, old boy. Why not? Bright moon tonight, isn't it?
Yes, bomber's moon.
We nearly get shot on our way here.
Quiet, Susie. We're not supposed to have been there.
If I nearly get shot, I am going to say I nearly get shot. It was a man which is called, McAllister.
Oh, old Mac. Huh? Very decent sort, Mac. He's a tree doctor.
A what?
Tree doctor. Got to have wood, you know. But trees start to die. Mac goes round the edge of the clearing and smears them with stuff to keep them well. How did you come to meet him?
Well, the fact is, we nearly got as far as the factory tonight.
Oh, then you were lucky to get back alive.
There weren't any barrage balloons over the factory, I noticed.
Hardly, old boy. They wouldn't advertise, would they? With balloons in open country?
And if the Germans did use dive bombers?
Oh, they're not coming, old boy. Just make up your mind to that.
I wonder if you'll say so at 10 o'clock.
But it is 10 o'clock. It's just 10 now.
Well, it can't be. We drove here like blazes. It was only 9:30 then.
Well, then your watch must be very slow, old boy. No, I'm afraid you're wrong. I've never seen it quieter. Cold tonight, very dry for March. Look all around you. Moonlight, open country, not a sign of life in it. Quiet, peaceful, and silent as the great...
What was that?
By George, I think we've got some visitors. I think we're going to see some fun.
Enemy planes approaching south-southwest. Action stations. Enemy planes approaching south-southwest.
Now do you believe me?
Better stand back, old boy. Operation crew's coming on.
I said, now do you believe me?
I want you to watch these girls work. They do everything, you know, except actually fire the guns. Now, keep your hair on, old boy.
Susie, he still can't see it.
Oh, they'll only be going over.
You think so?
Oh, yes. We sometimes get a crack at them when they're making for Bristol.
Standing by for action. Standing by.
Listen. I have heard that noise 1,000 times, but every time I hear it, I get sick.
Well, they're flying ruddy low, you know.
Just what I was thinking.
Spotter! Any identification?
Junkers, 88.
Dive bombers.
Height, 5,200.
Now, look here, you two newspaper people.
Yes, sir?
There might be things popping, you know, can't tell. Like to get below?
No, thanks.
I don't like this, Bert, but I'll stay too.
Rangefinder, on target.
Look here, you two. Those War Office passes you gave me, I'm not supposed to keep them. No, I'd better give them back, just in case.
Predictor, on target.
Here we go, ladies and gents.
Fire. Stand by. Predictor on target. Fire. Stand by. Predictor on target.
Headquarters message, sir.
Fire.
Yes, Corporal?
Hold fire. Night fighters taking off.
Hold fire. Night fighters taking off.
Hold fire. Message understood.
What is the matter with them?
With who?
Those Boche planes. They're still a good way off, but they don't come any closer.
Must be going over after all.
They're circling. I think they're waiting for a signal.
Anyhow, here are your War Office passes. You seem to have got them all smeared with oil.
Oil?
That is all right, mon cher. When we get them back from Captain McAllister, they have oil on them. I think maybe he dropped them on the leaves, because there's oil on the tires of the car, too. Then I think how always in this we meet things that burn. At Madame Tussauds last night, they would not let me smoke a cigarette in case of fire.
Fire. That's it, fire.
What's the matter with you, old boy?
Why did that fella, way out at the end of nowhere, want to know what time it was?
Are you scatty?
McAllister, you told me so yourself. He goes around the edges of the clearing and smears the trees with stuff to keep them well.
Well, what about it?
Suppose it was crude oil. Suppose between each tree he laid an invisible fuse of dead leaves soaked in oil.
I don't understand.
In 30 seconds, a complete square of fire runs around the limits of the factory grounds. That draws the bombers in. Then as the flames blaze higher, they've got enough light to dive on their target.
There. Our night fighters are letting loose.
Bronson, I see it all now. Come on. We've got to get to that tree, Dr. McAllister. It's a matter of minutes. Susie, is Bronson following in the car behind us?
Yes, he's following, and men with rifles.
We've got to get to McAllister's cottage.
This McAllister...
I'll bet you 10 to 1 the real McAllister's either dead or tied up in that cottage. The fellow we saw was an imposter. Look out, Susie. Keep your head down.
Oh, those fighters. They will chew up every younker in the place. They have not got the chance of a snowshoe in heaven.
No, Susie, not a snowshoe in heaven. You mean that...
I know you are English at a time like this. What I cannot understand...
Look out!
I don't see why he hasn't set his signal off. What is delaying him? Why don't he strike a match when the bombers come over?
Because he's a good Nazi.
A good Nazi?
My watch was slow, don't you remember? And I gave him the wrong time. He had orders to strike his match at 10 o'clock, and he'll not do it until 10 o'clock if there are 500 planes instead of 20.
Bert, I see him.
Where?
Far up the road. He's running.
Yeah, that's him. Think we can reach him before he gets to the clearing?
Not the chance of a snowshoe in heaven.
Signal Brunson to pass us. A long shot with a rifle might...
Bert, one of the Junkers is hit.
What?
He's right over us.
That's not all. He's unloading his bombs. That whole stick's coming straight down our direction. Keep your head down.
I want to see it.
Put your arms over your face. Are you all right?
I don't feel her.
This is a dirt road. The bomb sank too deeply before it exploded. We didn't catch the blast. Come on, Susie. McAllister was just ahead of us. Come on, let's get out. We can't drive any farther. This road is full of bomb craters. Wait a minute, Susie. There's McAllister.
He is dead.
Yes, Susie. Killed by a Nazi bomb.
Look, on the ground. What are those two white cards?
Oh. They're all smeared with oil. They must have fallen out of McAllister's pocket just before he got hit. Let's see. What do you know?
What are the cards, Bert?
2 tickets for Madame Tussauds Waxworks. I'm afraid our friend's never going to get to use them.
Not the chance of a snowshoe in heaven.
And so ends Menace in Wax. Tonight's story of Suspense. Columbia presents these stories of mystery and intrigue and dangerous adventure for your relaxation and enjoyment. Next Tuesday, there'll be another in this series. Same hour, 9:30 Eastern Wartime. William Spear, the producer. John Dietz, the director. Bernard Herrmann, the composer-conductor. John Dixon Carr, the author. Our collaborators on Suspense.
Here is a message of vital importance to every person who drives an automobile in America. There is wide misunderstanding about gasoline and rubber, and the government wants the following facts brought to everyone's attention. Actually, there is no scarcity of gasoline except in some parts of the East. But nowhere in the country is there enough rubber for military and civilian use. Starting 2 weeks from today, December 1st, mileage rationing goes into effect. This means that no car owner anywhere in the United States will be able to buy gasoline without a mileage rationing book. The purpose is to conserve the rubber we have by eliminating all unnecessary driving. When we think of the tremendous distances our mechanized army is traveling in North Africa and the long road to victory that still lies ahead, this extra effort on our part is slight indeed. Remember, everybody is going to have mileage rationing, so why not be prepared? The best way each of us can save rubber is by sharing our car with others. Let one car do the work for 2 or 3. So why not arrange with the neighbors tonight and start sharing the car tomorrow? It's the one real, important contribution that every automobile driver can make. Don't be a lone rider. Share your car and do your share for victory. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
That was Suspense from November 17th, 1942, and that will conclude our Halloween Spooktacular 2023. We hope you have enjoyed these Halloween-themed old-time radio programs. Now, I have to try to get Slim to wind up the dancing. I hope you can find your own way out, but be sure to join us next year for our next Halloween Spooktacular. Slim, come on now, turn the music off. People want to sleep.